One. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our interview with Roger Hale. Roger is a Chief Security Officer at BigID, which is a US Israeli data protection and privacy software company. BigID aims to transform how enterprises track, secure, and govern their most important digital asset, their customer and employee data. Roger, thank you for taking your time and coming to our virtual interview. Also, in your on your car, you just pulled over, but thank you for your time.
Oh, this is how important your audience is. I will pull over onto the side of the road just to be able to speak to them.
Okay, Roger, can you tell me a short story about BigID? Why did you choose to focus on the data privacy issues, and why there was a need for your solution?
So BigID is 4 years old. This was founded in 2016. And the idea behind it was the fact that businesses and individuals didn't know where their critical data was. At this time, there was a lot of discussion about what was going to happen with GDPR. Was it going to become around? Was it actually going to be impactful? And privacy was the discussion at the point of the time. BigID realized that most solutions were security first, and we're focused on more around just protection of the data, and not the context of the data usage, which is so critical to privacy. With that, they looked at building a company that was privacy first, believing that coming from the privacy first and adding the contextual usage of data along with the protection of data would be an approach that would be able to span beyond privacy and actually roll into security and data governance as well. And over the last 4 years, we have continued to prove that out. That coming from a privacy first perspective of understanding the impact of your most critical data, and from a privacy aspect with all those additional controls around how it's being used and who's using it, has broadened across all data usage to make sure that a company has the visibility to understand and the ability to make decisions and take action on their most critical data and its protection.
All right. Roger, can you explain what exactly BigID offers to industry, how it differs perhaps from other software providers in this space, and what are some examples of your customers' use cases?
So I think what really sets us apart is that we have designed a defense and my security is coming out of me at this point, my security background. We've defined a discovery in depth to really contextualize, not just identify or do pattern matching to find data, but understand the correlation of data and then the metadata around that. And taking that from that foundation to then be able to interact and work with the rest of the technology stack to enrich what companies are doing now with the technology investment that they've already made, as well as bringing to the front, identifying where they need to do more, or they need to adjust how they're operating to protect the most critical assets. So it's not our product solves all of your problems. What we are is, from a privacy, from a security, and from a data governance perspective, we are providing you not just the visibility of understanding across your known network and the dark spaces of your network as well, but we're giving you the ability to interface with the current technology stack you have to action on that data as you would, whether it's within our applications, our partner applications, or the current technology stack that you have. So we're a team player with everything you have today.
All right, okay. So we are currently in the midst of the major crisis, the most important disruptive period to our society in the peacetime history. And the pandemic is having serious implications for businesses across the globe as they adapt to the new normal of operations. Can you perhaps elaborate more on this topic, perhaps because there are a lot of security and cybersecurity and remote work involved. Could you perhaps elaborate more on this topic and how you guys are helping your customers and the society as a whole during this time. What tips do you have for risk managers to help their organizations to stay the course during this pandemic crisis?
Well, with this pandemic, and especially with all um, the effort and considering the geolocation and contact location data and everything else that companies are considering and healthcare providers are considering trying to be able to capture, as well as just the regular healthcare data. It really is one of those things that comes back to our discovery in depth and being able to correlate and identify the metadata around the actual data itself that you're looking to protect, that we're able to give that visibility to provide the protections to meet HIPAA compliance, to meet the compliance from any of the regulations, to allow our businesses to leverage that, understanding what other contexts, what other data around there, which could include geolocation data. And so, again, at this time, and when there's an event or an incident that spurs this level of change and growth, at the same time, that's the most important time for companies to be aware and have the visibility into where the data is going and how it's being used. And so that's what we're able to provide, that visibility, and to assure that the data that can be collected and used is, and the data that should not be collected or used, that it can be protected and it can be separated. So we're giving that visibility and those tools to assist all of our customers in assuring.
Oh, all right. Your voice has disappeared, but okay, I will cut it down later, this topic. One few minutes, no problem. What is the data ethics and how is it related to data privacy? Can you give some real life examples?
I'm sorry, you broke up just a little bit. Can you re-ask the question?
Yeah. What is the data ethics and how is it related to data privacy? Can you give some real life examples?
So I'm going to check because unfortunately, because I am on the side of the road, you broke up again. Did you ask about data ethics and how that relates to privacy? Was that the question?
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, this is a great time to consider that. I mean, previously, before the privacy regulations that came around, if you had collected the data, the concept was that it was now your data. You could do with it what you will. The data privacy regulations, and especially now that we're in the middle of a pandemic, and the idea of capturing data that correlates back to an individual, including who they've been in contact with, the ethics of what you do with that data really has to be defined in the data usage. The goals of being able to manage data for the purpose of healthcare, for the purpose of that you've captured it for. That to me, that is the ethics of, is this the right thing to do with that data? And do we have the right to do that? Have we given that specific permission to use my data, to use example, in that manner? The ethics of using data for the right purpose and making sure that we have that consent. You can look at the current case with Apple and Google as they're building technology. However, they're making sure that that technology cannot capture other data elements, and so that cannot be aggregated. That would then create a breach of data privacy in that manner. And so the ethics of, can we build something versus should we build something, comes back to considering the use cases and what you should do with data.
All right. So for my personal question, it makes me sometimes very nervous what people and brands know about me or my company. They know the appliances that I use in my house, the software I install and remove. They know websites that I am visiting. They can read the emails that I'm sending. it's like there is no privacy anymore. So where do you think data and privacy as a whole is hidden? What are the major trends in the data ethics space, and what we should expect from you guys in the future?
Well, so the trends in that is that, you know, they do have that information. You know, is that information anonymized? Do they have the right to even use that information if it's anonymized, based upon how they capture that information, based upon implied consent versus, you know, deliberate consent, right? Direct consent. So that's where, and that goes back to the last question around ethics, where that comes together. Where what we see is there's going to be more opportunity to address implied versus direct consent, and providing those tools to be able to action on information and be able to respond faster and with more clarity to individuals as they're asking why you're using their data, in what manner, giving you that control over your data that should be the new norm. But also in considering and being able to identify how that data is being used across the systems within a company, to allow the chief data officers to be able to assure that the data that they're gathering and they're using is being used to the policies that the data was captured for. And so the internal ability to use that information and assure that the right people have the right access to the right information, and that's not overprivileged, but that also that you do have, you know, data integrity in that process.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Roger, for your interview, and I wish your company high growth, and it's really on the very good topic that everyone is very interested right now, and I believe you have a bright future for your company.
Well, thank you very much. We're really excited here at BigID, and you know, our goal is to be able to empower our customers so that they can make those right decisions and they can manage people's data correctly.